last piece that we're going to play for you before the ceremony starts is called Armed Forces Salute. So we are going to represent every branch of the armed services. When I call out Army, if you are a veteran, if someone in your family is a veteran, if a friend is a veteran, please stand up. So we'll announce each branch. As your branch is being represented, stand up and then have a seat whenever you need to. I'll try to use my teacher voice. I know, it's hard to believe I have one. All right. Ready?
Thank you, Gene. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this year's Wood County Veterans Memorial Dedication Ceremony. My name is Craig Lambert, and I'm going to be guiding us through the program here today. So today is Veterans Day, and as you all know, Veterans Day is the time when we honor everybody that has served in this nation's armed forces. So we're here to honor their patriotism, their love of country, and their sacrifice. To all of my fellow veterans out here today, and Judge Zappin, I salute you and thank you all for your service. So it's also a time, the Memorial Committee, on two occasions every year, on the occasion of Memorial Day and on Veterans Day, they add names as appropriate to our memorial wall and honor those who are having legacy stones added to the grounds of the memorial. I encourage you all, we're here at the PAC today, but our memorial is in front of the Wood County Courthouse. It's beautiful. If you have not yet gone there today, I encourage you all to go there after today's ceremony, and there's a reception, which I'll announce later after today's ceremony as well. So without further ado, then, we do have a musical selection by the choir, and I'll turn it over then to the Lincoln High School Chamber Singers for now. We are so fortunate to have a top-notch music program here at Lincoln High School, and you are getting to see that here today, so thank you. I think Ryder Stieber is now going to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. After we do the pledge, then we'll have the choir just roll right into the national anthem.
Honor guard, attention! Now, face! Present on!
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
About face! Take seats!
Now I call on Pastor Michelle Nicodemus from Grace Lutheran for the invocation. Pastor?
Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you all today as we gather to honor all who have served in the military for this country. Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, we give you thanks for the men and women who have served and defended our country and the values of freedom and justice that we hold so dear. Help us to be mindful of the sacrifices they have made and continue to make, and the hardship endured by their families and friends, so that we never take for granted the privileges and rights they have secured for us. Guide us in supporting them, remembering them, and thanking them. Hear our prayer as we trust in you. Amen.
they'll make their way here.
You want me just to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
All right, so we're going to roll with this. Maybe we'll have a musical selection by the orchestra. Maybe we'll fit them in somewhere later. But let's press on then with our remarks from our featured speaker today. The Honorable Edward Zappin Jr. is our featured speaker here today. Judge Zappin, or Colonel Zappin, served in the Air Force on active duty. He was the crew commander for the Titan missile base in Tucson, Arizona, and then after his active duty stint, he served in the Air Force Reserve, ultimately serving for a number of years as a judge advocate. He retired as a lieutenant colonel. I had the privilege of working with him for a number of years when he was a Wood County Circuit Court judge, probably the last 8 years until he retired. It was an honor and a privilege to know him and to practice law in front of him, and I'm honored to call him my friend, so I'll call on you now, sir, for your remarks. Go ahead, we'll fit them in later.
I've got to admit I was a little nervous when I came out here, and then when I saw all these soldiers that stood up during the playing of their respective anthems, I felt right at home. I'm going to talk about gratitude, respect, and closure. And I'm going to use the honor flight to talk about that. I took the Never Forgotten Honor Flight out of Wausau about a month ago. And I'll tell you a little bit about that, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what I learned about gratitude, respect, and closure from that. The honor flights are an affiliate of a nationwide honor flight network. There's over 130 locations where these honor flights take place in 45 different states. The Wausau goes 4 times a year, April, May, and then September and October. They don't fly out to Washington in the summertime because nobody wants to be in Washington in the summertime when it's 180 degrees and 110% humidity and thousands of little kids running around doing the thing. So that's why they don't go out there in the summertime. On my flight, we had 106 veterans and one from the Korean era. The rest were Vietnam era, which was especially meaningful for me because I was also in the Vietnam era. I did not serve in Vietnam. In fact, I never got shot at. Had I gotten shot at, it would have been with a 10 megaton ICBM. But I didn't, fortunately, ever have to shoot my weapon. We also had guardians. The veterans who had trouble walking or moving or things like that had to have a guardian, someone with them to take care of them, make sure they didn't fall down, break their neck, get lost or anything like that. Those of us that were ambulatory had half of a guardian. So I had my cousin come with me, and then my daughter, who is here right now, flew all the way up from Tucson to be our guardians for this thing. On Sunday night, that was October 2nd, we went to the hotel in Hilton in Wausau. They gave us all of our clothing and bags and stuff. This is the shirt we all wore. The yellow shirt says Honor Flight up here. We had a hat, we had another thing to go on, and we had a bag full of all kinds of other good stuff, letters. They gave us all a book about the different monuments. There was a lot of stuff in there. It was really nice. Then we had a dinner followed with some entertainment. Went to sleep and had to get up at 04:30, and you guys that served all know nothing takes place at 9 or 10 o'clock, like normal people. It has to always be 04, 05 something. We had to get up that early because we had to be on the airplane by 0600. They bussed us over to CYA along with our spouses, who were not allowed to go on the honor flight, because if you go on the honor flight with your spouse, you're going to just hang around with him or her and not really mix as much with the other soldiers. So they took the spouses up so they could watch the airplane take off. We got into DC, and there was a line of people holding their hand out, welcoming us, saying, welcome home, welcome home. Welcome home was part of the theme of this particular flight, because those of you that are old enough to remember the Vietnam War. Those of you soldiers who were in service during the Vietnam War can remember how we were treated when we came home. At that particular time, the soldiers were not treated very nicely at all. And so they took for the theme on this flight, Welcome Home, because those soldiers had not been welcomed home back in those days. We went over, we saw the Lincoln Memorial, the Korean Memorial, the Marine Memorial, Air Force Memorial, Pentagon Memorial, World War II Memorial. I'm going to go to the Vietnam Memorial for a minute. Closure. What was so impressive at the Vietnam Memorial was seeing soldiers against the wall. Tears. A lot of those guys had been in a helicopter or been ambushed and had their platoon killed, except for them, that kind of thing. And this was a chance for them to say goodbye and have some closure for what happened. But they were able to say goodbye to their fellow soldiers killed in Vietnam. And maybe you don't know this, all the names on the wall are arranged by date of death, not anything else, not alphabetical, but by date of death. And specifically for that purpose, that little 19-year-old girl, that architecture student, I should say, that designed the wall wanted to do it that way for exactly that purpose. So a soldier who lost someone during that war, you'd be able to find it because you'd know the date that you lost your friends. All right, let's talk about respect a little bit. No, I'm sorry, let's do the gratitude. Welcome home. Welcome. Thank you for our freedom. Thank you for keeping our peace. Part of the gratitude we had was for all the honor flight volunteers. When we were in Warsaw, anybody with a red shirt, you could go up to them and say, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? They ushered us around, they took care of us, and I have a lot of gratitude for that. I have a lot of gratitude for the people that helped us out when we were in Washington. We had 4 buses, and we were driving around going to see these memorials, and we could get out and go visit them and so on and so forth. And we'd get back on the bus and we'd go up a one-way street the wrong way and then running red lights, and what the heck is going on? We had a police escort for the whole day. And so we could go anywhere, and it was just, red lights, everybody stand aside, and wrong way streets, wherever we needed to go, we could go. It was a sign of respect. It was a sign of gratitude for all of us to be able to honor us that way. When we were at the Lincoln Memorial getting our pictures taken, I'm going to just tell you this one little thing. We all had a lanyard around our neck and identifying our service, Air Force, Navy, Marine, Coast Guard. There's one Coastie with us. I saw the Coast Guard guys over there. We only had one Coastie out of that 106. And the guy next to me was a Navy guy. And I said, hey, how you doing, whatever. What'd you do in the Navy? He says, I was a barber. No, I never heard of a barber really in service, but then you think about these guys that are going out on a ship for 6 months, you better have barbers. Okay, and he got a lot of helicopter rides because they fly him here to another ship. So he really had a pretty good time, but he was a barber and just as important as any other soldier that served. They told us that for every person armed with a weapon, it would take at least 11 people to support one soldier that was armed with a weapon. I have a lot of gratitude for that, all of the people that served, for all of the people that stayed behind, the moms, the dads, the wives, the children. A lot of gratitude for them, for what they did and what they had to put up with while we were out doing what soldiers do, mostly which is what they tell us to do, of course, but what we do. Respect. Driving around, we had a bus that said honor flight on it, and people would wave, they'd salute. When we were at the Lincoln Memorial, and they were trying to line us up for 106 soldiers, trying to get us all lined up in the right order, they'd watch, and they would talk to our guardians. and they'd watch the whole thing. We had that police escort when we went to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Now, have any of you been to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier? You know, okay. What happens is you park down here and then you walk up this hill, right? Okay? No, not us. No. The bus drove us up to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And the only vehicles allowed are honor flight vehicles. That's all they allow up there. So you don't have to walk up that hill. Am I thankful for that? Yes. Do they respect us? Yes. That was a sign of respect in my mind. And we got to park right there. Now, one of the other things they told us, and you know how those guards are walking like this all the time? But what they would do occasionally, a little stuff. And if there were honor flight people there, a guard would do that little scuff, which was a salute and a sign of respect. And this is from the guys at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Those men and women that do that receive a badge. It's the second highest honor outside of a Medal of Honor that you can get when you're serving in the military. They're all Army. I forget what unit they're part of, okay? But these guys would do that for us, for a sign of respect. And I mean, it felt really, really good. All right, where am I here? My grandchildren are with me this weekend, and so I figured they probably messed these things up for me. There it is. One of the things I liked a lot was what I felt with closure. Getting off active duty, getting out of uniform, the last day of service, you know, and you're retired. And you walk off your post, you walk out of wherever you work, and just all of a sudden you're back in the civilian world. And for me, even taking this honor flight was some closure. That chapter of my life was really finally closed. I can't imagine what it was looking like for the soldiers that had been in combat and lost friends, and the families that survived with friends. When we came back home at CWA, there was a State Patrol Honor Guard, Knights of Columbus, other honor guards, and about 200 or 300 people standing out, shaking our hand. Welcome home, Ed. Welcome home, Tom. Welcome home, Bill. Because we went into this line one at a time, and they announced the name. And then you'd walk down this thing that were roped off, and all the military types were on one side, and then your family and others were on the other side, and you'd be getting that shake of hands. Welcome home. Welcome home. And that was the theme of the whole show, and that's what these Veteran Day ceremonies and other things are. Welcome home, and thank you for our freedom. Thank you for keeping peace. One of our speakers on this flight said, and I don't know how any of you will feel about this, but if you say, well, thanks for your service to a soldier, some don't feel what your intention was because they did things in combat or in other ways that they don't want to talk about and don't want to think about, okay? And so it's, don't thank me for my service because I did horrible things, but you want to thank me for my freedom. Now, this is my thoughts, but a speaker gave us that one. You know, thank you for providing our peace, for securing our freedom, for securing our peace. Page 6. I just talked to one of the other guys in the back there, and a lot of the soldiers thought that one of the best parts of the entire trip was to hang out with a bunch of soldiers. The baloney flag went up high, and we'd start telling each other stories, insulting each other. And those of you from different services, you know what I mean. You always got to insult the Marines. I mean, you know, unless they're carrying a weapon, then you leave the Marines alone. What I have with all of you soldiers that were here, we're a part of a brotherhood. We're a brotherhood of warriors. And we understand each other, no matter what our rank, our background, our job, no matter what we did. When we meet each other, we understand each other, like me and the barber. Okay? We immediately had a connection, and I think all you guys that are soldiers can understand that and remember that. Now, I want one more thing to show gratitude here. I would like all the veterans here, don't do it yet, stand up, turn around, look around at you, at all the people that are here supporting you. Give them a salute and say thank you. And we're showing gratitude back to them for the support they give us for what we did for our country. Veterans, please stand, look around, and salute all these people that are here to support you. Thank you.
And now we hear from the Symphony Orchestra. And now committee member Karen Schill is going to do the dedication for those being added to our memorial wall and for the legacy stones. Karen?
Thank you, Craig, and thank you for your service. Today, we dedicate the names of John Bollman Jr., Larry K. Gustafson, Susan Klafka Kann, Patrick O'Connor, and Donald D. Schillinger to the Wood County Memorial. They join the 493 names of men and women from Wood County that gave the ultimate sacrifice to our country. We lost these 5 men and women too early due to illness related to their service to our country. We welcome the Bollman, Gustafson, Kann, O'Connor, and Schillinger families and friends today. It is an honor to have you here. If you are comfortable standing as we dedicate your loved one, we invite you to do so. John Bollman Jr. passed away in June 2022. John was born in 1948 to John and Arlene. After his graduation from Lincoln High School, he proudly served his country in the United States Marine Corps from 1967 until 1973 during the Vietnam War. He was a 3-time Purple Heart recipient. During his working career, he was a millwright at the Beer and Division of Consolidated Papers. He was an avid outdoorsman and enjoyed deer hunting, pheasant hunting, fishing, and golfing. John enjoyed world exploration, but hated traveling to get there. He loved to cook, try new recipes, enjoyed gardening, and valued time spent with family and friends. He is missed by his children, JP and Brandy, his grandchildren, his brother Steve, sister Candace, and all of their spouses. Larry Gustafson passed away in December 2021. Larry was born in 1947 to Ken and Loretta in Wisconsin Rapids. He proudly served in the United States Army from 1967 until 1970. He received the Purple Heart, National Defense Vietnam Service Medal, and the Combat Infantry Badge. He was honored to receive a Quilt of Valor for his service. In his earlier years, Larry enjoyed fishing, hunting, and camping, and watching the Packers, Brewers, and Badgers. He particularly enjoyed his Lake George vacations and spending time with his grandsons. Larry worked the finishing room of the Nakusa Papers Port Edwards Mill and later at the Ho Chunk Casino. Missing Larry are his wife Mary Jo of 49 years, children Michelle, Christopher, and Aaron and spouses, his beloved grandchildren and sisters, Karen, Diane, Bonnie, Kathy, Deborah, and Pam, and their spouses, Rosemarie, and many nieces and nephews. We dedicate Susan Klafka Kann to our memorial. Susan passed away in July of 2017. Susan was born in Wisconsin Rapids in 1957 to Roman and Myrtle. She graduated from Lincoln High School in 1975. She served in the U.S. Army National Guard in the 32nd Infantry Brigade from 1976 until 1998. She retired at the rank of Staff Sergeant. She completed a tour in Desert Storm, earning the Southwest Asia Service Medal and the Army Reserve Component Achievement Medal. Susan was a very outgoing person with a great sense of humor and a huge heart, and was like a second mom to her nieces and nephews. Susan was a famous host and loved to get together with family and friends. She enjoyed traveling and was a mechanically inclined person of many talents. She donated many of her woodworking crafts and crocheted items to the VA. Susan is held in beloved memory by her brother Bernard and sisters Beatrice, Linda, Ann, June, and their spouses, and her beloved nieces and nephews. Patrick O'Connor passed away in October of 2021. Patrick was born in 1948 in Viroqua, Wisconsin, to Forrest and Irene. After his high school graduation, he enlisted in the Army and served his country for 3 years as a paratrooper. He served in Vietnam in the 101st Airborne Division, 173rd Airborne Brigade, and then ended his service as a Green Beret in the 5th Special Forces Group. After graduation from La Crosse and the Palmer College of Chiropractic, he relocated to Wisconsin Rapids, and for 30 years he practiced as a chiropractor. Pat was a proud veteran whose years of service shaped him into a dedicated patriot. As a young boy, he dreamed of serving and of being a paratrooper. His daughter, Katie, shared a story with us that she had learned about her dad. When Patrick was a little boy, he would take his toy soldiers and affix little handmade parachutes to them. He would then sneak up the fire escape to the roof of the tallest building in Viroqua, which was the library next to his house. He'd dangle his feet off the edge of the roof, and then he would drop and watch his paratroopers land. Certainly a foreshadowing of his fearlessness and future adventures as a paratrooper. His daughter Kelly recollects that whenever Pat talked about his service, one of the most important things to him was his relationships with his buddies. He remembered all the names and specific stories about his fellow soldiers. Camaraderie and connection to veterans was very important to him and throughout his life. Pat loved hunting and spending time outdoors. He shared this passion with Katie, Kelly, and Ryan, his children. He was an avid music lover who loved to dance with his beloved wife, Patty. He was a devoted husband, father, grandfather, and friend. Donald D. Schillinger passed away in June 2022. Don was born in Stratford to Ferdinand and Evelyn. He graduated in 1964 from Lincoln High School. After college, Don was drafted and served in Vietnam in the 219th Aviation Company Headhunters. Based on his education, Don managed the aviation body shop, where he specialized in war-riddled sheet metal and equipment repairs on Huey choppers and bird dog Cessnas. After his tour of duty, Don was employed by Abel's Menswear and then Consolidated Papers, where he held numerous titles and roles until his retirement in 2005. Don was a dedicated, hardworking provider who loved teaching his children and grandchildren the common rules of life, which were always delivered with a good joke. Donald was a proud trustee of the Consolidated Muskie Club. He cooked all the banquet meals each year, and he supported the Sportsman's Club, VVA Chapter 101, Color Guard, and numerous other charities. He was humbled to be chosen to take part also in the never-forgotten honor flight. And he was honored that his niece Carrie, also a veteran, was his chaperone. His charisma and charm would fill a room, and Don cherished family time the most. He's lovingly survived by his wife, Deborah, and children, Jason and Sarah, his brother William, and his sisters, Dolores, Carol, Kathleen, and their spouses. His friend Bob, granddaughters, grandsons, nieces and nephew, and great nieces and nephews, and his special friend Mikey. Today, we dedicate these 5 service members to the Wood County Veterans Memorial, and a grateful community and nation recognizes their family members for their sacrifice and the sacrifice of these men and women whose lives ended too soon. We are honored to have the family and friends here who have remembered loved ones who have served with legacy stones, which are placed at the beds of the memorial. We have 10 honorees tonight, and they represent the United States Army, the Army Air Corps, the Navy, the Air Force Reserve, the Air Force and the Air Force Reserve. These men served stateside and abroad during World War II, Vietnam, and the Cold War. We know we've got proud family members here, and we welcome you too, and we invite you, if you wish, to stand as your loved one is recognized. We are honoring World War II veteran Clyde E. Bates. Staff Sergeant Bates served in the U.S. Army Air Corps from 1942 until 1945 with the 756th Bomber Squadron with service in Normandy and Italy. We are honoring Private First Class Donald Kaler for his service in World War II. Donald served in the Pacific Theater of Operations with a tank battalion. Upon his return from service, he served 2 terms as Wood County Sheriff and as commander of the Wisconsin Rapids post of the VFW. We are honoring Joseph H. Huger. Upon graduation from the Los Angeles Trade and Technical College with a degree in science, Joseph Huger served in the U.S. Army from 1969 until 1972 with a unit from the 1st Cavalry Division in Fort Hood, Texas. He attained the rank of sergeant. We are honoring Vietnam veteran Larry C. Jackson. Larry Jackson served in the U.S. Army from 1963 until 1966. He attained the grade of Specialist 5 as an Army Support Combat Engineer in Vietnam. His family is very proud of his service. We are honoring the Plant brothers, who all served in the United States Air Force during the Cold War era. They are the sons of U.S. Army and World War II veteran Francis Plant and Charlotte. Airman Jesse Plant joined the Air Force in 1973 until 1975 with service at the Grand Forks Air Base in North Dakota. Jesse passed away in December of 2020, and he's honored and remembered lovingly by his children, Angela, Vance, and Vicky. Sergeant Thomas A. Plant served in the United States Air Force from 1976 until 1980. He served at Altus Air Force Base in Oklahoma as an airfield management specialist. His family is very proud of his service. Air Force Sergeant William Plant served as a radio systems operator at Clark Air Base in the Philippines and Augsburg, Germany. His service and dedication to his family served as an example to his children, with his oldest son serving an 18-year career in the Army, and his younger son still serving in an active service role with the Wisconsin Army National Guard. We are honoring the Reshevsky brothers for their service in World War II. PFC Leo Reshevsky served in the U.S. Army Infantry from July 1942 until December 1944. A Purple Heart recipient, he fought in Casablanca and was wounded during the North African Campaign. Staff Sergeant Norbert Reshevsky served proudly as a U.S. Army medic in the South Pacific. He passed away in 2018, was husband to Alice for 72 years, and an amazing father and grandfather. Lieutenant Colonel Vincent Reshevsky served in the U.S. Army Air Corps as a flight instructor, training new recruits in Texas. After his service, he joined the Officer Reserve of the Air Force, retiring in 1979. He was the Wood County Veteran Service Officer from 1959 until 1972, and then served in the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs until 1983. Vincent always had a veteran's best interest at heart and was there anytime, day or night, to help them. We thank you, families, for supporting the Veterans Memorial by honoring your loved ones with a legacy stone. I think we should give all of the honorees a round of applause.
Before I call on the pastor for our closing prayer, I want to thank some people. I want to thank the Lincoln High School Orchestra, Wind Ensemble, and Choir for the fabulous music today. I want to thank the members of our color guard here and the various veterans organizations who helped put this together and make this happen today. They are listed in your program. Thanks to everybody else that made this program happen today and the members of the committee. After our closing prayer, we are going to have the rifle salute and the playing of taps. I'll then briefly conclude after that, but I do want to mention that after today's ceremony, there is going to be a reception with coffee and cookies. That is in the band room here at the high school, which is pretty much just across the lobby, I think. You'll find it, you'll get directed. That is hosted by the Tri-M Music Honor Society, and so thank you for that. And so now, Pastor Nicodemus, please, our closing prayer.
Let us pray. God, who gives hope and courage, we give thanks for our veterans, for their love of this country, and for their work to bring peace to our world. Heal the wounds of all who have served. Show us how to comfort those who are hurting in body, mind, or spirit. Guide us in welcoming veterans into our community and assisting them if needed. Bless those gathered to honor and remember our veterans today, so that those who have served might know our gratitude. We pray that peace will always prevail in the end, and give thanks for all who serve, so that we might continue to be free. Hear our prayer as we trust in you. Amen.